I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Mendes, do we have anyone for open forum? No, ma'am. Thank you. Just a little announcement. I'm not Dr. Larkin, nor am I Mrs. Pavo. Dr. Larkin is going to be a little late this evening, and Mrs. Pavo was not able to join us, so you get me. Okay, let's jump into the agenda. Consent agenda. We have meeting minutes from the Building Committee of October 24th, the School Committee December 12th, Finance Subcommittee December 12th, Safety Committee January 16th, and those are not yet voted by on the committee. And we have executive session minutes from December 12th as well.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a few corrections. I know.
You probably knew that.
Nothing new, right?
No.
Okay. Sorry. This is what happens when you walk in at the last minute. I had everything here. And it's nothing substantive, but I do have a few things. Sorry, guys.
Take your time.
Okay. On the school committee minutes from December 12th, I have a couple things. One is misspelling of actually my name in one spot. And Mrs. Mendes, I'll give these to you when we're done. You, I think, left a note for yourself in the NEASC portion, asking what NEASC was, if you could strike that from the minutes. Mm-hmm. And then we have the vote from executive session that the school committee voted to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and approve the emergency response plan and safety protocols. You've got that twice in the minutes. If you could just strike one. Like I said, I'll give it to you after the meeting. And the safety committee meetings, meeting minutes from January 16th. I am noted as a member of that committee because I did attend that evening, but I am not a member of that committee. I was just there as a member of the public. So whoever does these minutes and gets them to be approved at the safety committee, if you could strike my name from there, that would be good. Other than that, I have no issues. I still would recommend that we accept the minutes. So all in favor? Thank you. Okay. Under, I would like to recommend that we move item 7B, new business, up to first on the schedule.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Okay, item 7B, recognize students with perfect RICAS scores.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Sanchioni, members of the school committee. Sorry about that. No one's ever confused me with the soft voice. Tonight I'd like to recognize two really remarkable students, both of which scored 100% on last year's RICAS test in English language arts. A couple things about that. If you think of the subjectivity of that versus, say, math, where you either got it right or wrong, versus the ELA, where people are actually scoring your writing and things like that. It just gives you an idea of how much these two students really dug in, and I'm very proud of the work that they did. I was working with Katie Barrett. It appeared that maybe 45 children at most in grade 6 across the state scored 100%. So I'd like to recognize them with you. Abby Gilflin and Luca Palumbo, if they could come up. I don't know if you have any questions for these students, but
It's a really good achievement, and I'm just really glad to have this. It's just really cool, and I just like to thank everyone for all the support. And it's just I couldn't learn all this and do all this without all the Tiverton staff and teachers. Thank you.
Exactly what he said. I'd also like to thank the teachers, Miss Noguera and Miss Messenger. I don't know if they're here tonight, but I'd like to give a big thanks to them. And definitely our parents. A big part of this couldn't have been done without them. So, thank you.
Guys, do you mind coming through and shaking our hands? We'd really appreciate it. Just go right through, please. Come this way. Come on this side. Watch out for the...
Everyone wants to shake your hand. Congratulations, well done. Congratulations, so awesome. Give me some more screen time. That's very impressive. Very well done. Very well done.
thank you guys, thank you.
There you go. So can we comment real quick? Is that
Absolutely.
appropriate?
Go for it.
So I have a comment and a question. So the comment is, I know that I could not score a perfect score in the RICAS. I know I can't. I don't know about you guys, I can't. So that is an accomplishment that's unbelievable to me. So I'm very proud of the both of you. And then the other question I want to know is, do you guys get your brains from your mom or your dad? Now that's a trick question. If you
I
want
can
to,
answer that
if
for
you
you.
want to answer it, everyone's listening. No, that's a trick. Don't answer that question. But absolutely recognizing your parents is really good, right? Because they probably push you to be the best you could be. And obviously, scoring perfect score on the RICAS is remarkable. So congratulations, both of you.
Okay, thank you all for coming. I can't congratulate you all enough. You guys are just in middle school. I can only imagine what we're going to see in high school from you two. So good job, congratulations. Okay, back to the agenda. Is it on? Okay. Under old business, so approve homeschool request for 23-24 school year. Mrs. Kraeger.
Thank you. As you can see there is one family requesting homeschooling for their child, two of their children. So I ask that you approve the homeschooling request for them.
Motion to approve is recommended.
Seconded.
Anyone have comments, questions? All those in favor?
Thank you. Mr. Dakotas, the last time we met, you did ask if many of the students or how many students who receive homeschooling come from families, and 17 families have more than one student receiving homeschooling.
So that makes up, my math is correct, that's 27 plus 34 out of, so it's a good chunk.
Yeah.
It's a healthy chunk of it. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Next, under old business, we have the second read, policy 512 for section 504. We went through this policy in detail at our first reading. I don't think anyone really had any questions at that time. Does anyone have any additional questions this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve since this is the second read.
I'll second that motion.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? I only have one comment with regard to this, and I will ask that the policy number 512 be clearly listed on the policy documentation, because the copies I have does not have it there, as well as the fact that this is a new policy effective in January of 2024.
Yes, we'll put that on the final one.
Thank you.
We did add it at the top, but we can put it at the 512, but we can put it on the bottom as well on each of the pages.
Okay, thank you.
And I'd just like to thank the policy subcommittee, too, for working on this with us.
Well, one of us is here, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, all those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay. New business. 7A, FICA alternative plan, possible vote. Amy Roderick and John Edwards.
Madam Chair, Mr. Edwards is running a little late, so we could. Oh, there he is. My apologies, Mr. Edwards. Great to see you here.
Would you like to come up?
You couldn't see that shirt, Dr. Sanchioni, when he walked in?
I'm
out of line of sight.
Sightline.
So, I guess, Madam Chair, right? You're stepping in, Vice Chair?
I'm the sub.
Sub, all right. So I had reached out after this came up last year, and it was a split vote 2-2. So the motion failed for you guys to implement this policy. It seemed like at the time there were some questions from both yourself and Dr. Larkin, who's not present this evening. So I reached out to Dr. Sanchioni and Member Dakotas to ask to have this put back on. Obviously, you know, I think from the town side, right, the municipality side, I'd like to see this implemented over there as well, because it does result in cost savings. And I think that in the last week we've seen, you know, the unfortunate reality is the governor's budget came out, and your committee is staring down an almost $1.25 million deficit in state aid. So, you know, when it comes to implementing programs that are going to put some dollars, albeit some small ones, back into the budget, you know, I think it would be wise for you to reconsider as a board. And I'm happy to address any questions, because again, I was the genesis for this idea last year.
We would. Does anyone wish to make a motion to reconsider our vote?
I would like to make that motion.
Does anyone wish to second?
I wasn't here, so I'm going to abstain from that.
We don't have a second.
Can I ask, as it relates to Robert's rules, since the motion was made to approve, it was a tie vote 2-2,
It failed.
so it failed. So,
2 were in favor.
yep.
That was Mr. Dakotas and Mrs. Pavo, who isn't with us this evening.
So, appreciate that. You know, would have been nice to have a heads up before I had to swiftly put the baby down and then race over here. But I would tell you that as we enter budget season, and this is from my perspective solely, not the perspective of the council, given the monster hole you guys are staring down, it would be ill-advised to not actively look at ways to put dollars back into your budget.
Rest assured, Mr. Edwards, we will be doing that.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have item 7D, approve new clubs for the high school. Mrs. Craven? Oh, no. Let me back up here. I accidentally went over the new clubs for the middle school, and they are listed first, Mr. Zitoli.
Hi, everyone. Trying to figure this out a little bit. As promised before, I'd always come before you with new clubs, and a couple have come up, and I'm hoping to implement over the next couple of weeks. One would be basketball in the morning for our 8th grade. We'll start in 8th grade, and I've got a gym teacher that would supervise that from like 7:30 to about 10 of 8, right when kids start to go to their lockers and homeroom. And also, we have a lot of interest in like a weight room club for boys and girls that we would do maybe once a week. We have a gym teacher that would supervise that. We did salvage some of the equipment from the high school that was still very workable, and we had some things over there as well. And our gym teacher has taken upon himself to clean up the area, and he understands weightlifting and things like that. It's part of the curriculum as well. So there is a lot of interest there, and I'm hoping to add, with your approval, those 2 clubs.
So do I have a motion to approve these clubs?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? Mr. Dakotas?
Can my daughter show up every morning and shoot free throws?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just quickly, Mr. Zitoli, I just want to, you've been very active since you've joined the district in bringing a lot of new and interesting clubs to your school population, and I just want to commend you for that.
Thank you, and obviously as teachers that will give up their time to do that and expertise, and I think that, you know, as we've talked about at length here, when kids feel connected in the middle school, that's what we want. So we've diversified a lot of the clubs, and there's a lot of interest there. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Mr. Zitoli, I have a question. On the basketball thing for 8th grade, is that co-ed?
Yes, of course it is, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then secondly, for the weight room club, my initial reaction, and I am not a medical professional, so I'll just state that right now, but I have concerns over weight training for middle school kids without some type of medical clearance, if that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I'll
concerned for
discuss that with
injuries.
Dr. Sanchioni. I don't think that's a bad idea if we want to get at least a permission to do that, and obviously to be very lightweight. That's pretty much the strategy with young kids. You never get super heavy. It's lightweight, a lot of reps, good form to start. So
I mean, they may even, I'm thinking of the gyms in our area may even have age restrictions on membership. That, I don't know that for sure because I am not a member.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, my concern for these kids in this group who are still growing and wondering what the impact of weight training would be.
yeah, I don't think that's a bad point. If you'd like me to explore that a little bit before we get started with that group, I will. I'll discuss it with Dr. Sanchioni. We'll make sure that's safe for kids. I've watched it. It's happening in gym anyways, and I've watched it a few times, and they're very careful about making sure the kids are not putting on more weight than they could ever handle.
500 pounds.
Exactly, yes.
Would you like to have the motion amended to be approval contingent upon addressing any safety concerns?
Yes, I would entertain that motion.
Mr. Dakotas, would you like to make that amendment?
Sure, I'll make the amendment that the acceptance is based upon whatever discovery you find out about the age restrictions.
Perfect,
And I'll second that.
perfect. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. All those in favor?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
And our student representative, feel free at any time to jump in the discussion. Got a microphone
Feel
over
free
there.
to ask to jump into the discussion at any time. Thank you. All right, item 7D, approve new clubs for Tiverton High School. Mrs. Craven again, thank you.
Oh, no, wait, we have something else.
That's right, don't leave it.
That didn't work?
Hi, thank you, Dr. Sanchioni and members of the committee. I'm here this evening for you to accept some new clubs at Tiverton High School. Before I mention the clubs that I am here to present, I'd like to introduce Brianna St. Laurent, and she's here this evening to present her request for a club. It was her senior project, and she's done a lot of hard work. So, Brianna.
Oh, terrific.
Well, welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Brianna St. Laurent, and I'm a senior at Tiverton High School. I started skateboarding as a shy, insecure, and isolated person. Since then, I have gained many valuable friendships and grew my confidence tremendously. Skateboarding has shaped me into who I am today, and I believe many more people can benefit from it. That is why it is my intention to create Tiverton High School's first ever skateboarding club. This will be part of my senior project, so by approving it, you are aiding me into graduating high school and becoming one step closer to college. Our advisor would be Mr. Ross. He has been skateboarding with my family for many years and is a great teacher at the school. And he's always motivated us to get better. One thing that I really enjoy about skateboarding is that it's non-competitive. I have tried competitive sports in the past, but always felt out of place and pressured. With skateboarding, I'm able to learn at my own pace with no worries of being not good enough. I have spoken with many students at the high school, and they have all agreed that a skate club would be a perfect fit. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. If you have any questions, let me know, but I'm very bad at answering questions.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the Tiverton High School Skate Club?
I'll make that motion.
Second that motion.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments?
I do have a comment, and it's really to commend you to just note the inclusivity of the skate club and just your awareness of that, and I commend you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dakotas?
So I know how hard you worked and how persistent you were to get here today. I thought you did a really good job presenting, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I told you when I grew up, I skateboarded, and my son skateboarded. I have some skateboards in my garage if you want them.
You
He's
can
in the
join
Navy.
the club if you want.
Say it again?
You can join if you want.
I don't know. If I fall down, I can't get up anymore. But you did make one good point. And as someone that knows a lot about basketball and softball and baseball, not every kid fits in. But when you do something like snowboarding and skateboarding or skiing, you're on your own, right? And you feel connected to it. And I know you're really connected to that. So good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a couple of questions, and I'll make them as easy as I can.
Thank you.
I'm noticing here that is it part of your senior project's intent to organize a town skate day?
Yes, I would like to make that part of like my project part of it.
Very good, very good. In the past, we've tried to organize it, but it rained out. Let's hope that 2024 is a sunnier year
Yes, I hope
than
so.
we had in 2023. And I do also want to wish you luck and hope that I can be one of your senior project judges, because I can't wait to see the pictures.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, all those in favor of approval? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much. Well done.
Mrs. Craven?
Thank you. And so with that, I'd like to ask for your approval of Tiverton High School's Drones Club, Robotics Club, and Art Club.
I'm going to make the motion to approve.
I will second Ms. Palish's motion.
And I'm going to make the same comment that I did to Principal Zitoli, is just the number of clubs that, and I know a lot of them are kid sort of presented to you,
Right.
but I'll applaud you as well for allowing them to come to you and bring all these new ideas and these new organizations to you, and for you supporting what they certainly have an interest in. Yeah. Things change over time, and you've also added a lot of very interesting things to the high school.
Thank you.
So, Mrs. Craven, a couple of these clubs seem to be an extension of the educational offerings at the
Correct.
high school. They will be, the club aspect of this will be outside of school hours, though?
Correct.
That's just to
Yeah,
confirm.
they're all after school, and they do fall under our umbrella for eligibility. So students in all of our extracurriculars, just like athletes, have to maintain grades in order to remain in their extracurricular or competitive sport. So they
Very
do
good.
fall under that umbrella as well.
Very good. And I will toss it to our student representative, Artemis. Do you have any questions?
Well, I am actually in art club as a member, and we just started doing a mural in one of our Spanish teachers' rooms, Senora Rosales', and I'll say it's pretty good so far. So I mean, yeah, but this is just really, like you said, it's an extension of a lot of the electives that we have, and I think it's really good if kids want to get more involved outside of school hours. So yeah, I think it's really good. I really enjoy doing art club, and I have a lot of people that enjoy doing art club with me, right?
Very well said, thank you.
Please feel free, as it progresses or when it's done, to bring it, and you bet. Bring photos with you and present.
Mr. Dakotas, do you have anything?
Echoing the sentiments, thank you for bringing all these, Ms. Craven.
You're welcome.
The more the merrier, especially robotics.
I completely
I love
agree.
arts. Believe me, I'm an art guy up and down, theater, music, art. But it's just good to see things like robotics and drones. That's where the world's going. We need to get our kids into that. So great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have, do we have a motion in a second? Yes. Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, Mrs. Craven, as I see you're still here, on 7E, Jersey Yard Sale.
Yes, thank you. So as you know, we are looking for opportunities to raise funds for the equipment for our locker room facility, weight training facility in the new locker room. So I'd like to receive approval from you to have a Tiverton High School jersey yard sale. When we cleaned out the closet areas in the old fitness room, we found a lot of old Tiverton High School jerseys, different sports, football, baseball, etc. So Mr. McGuire came to me and said, hey, we can sell these, right? And we'd like to have a yard sale to sell these. And so I'm looking for your approval to have this yard sale to sell these jerseys.
To start the process, I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Does anyone have comments?
Can you just, because you have the floor and there's a tape, can you just tell people, so you found a bunch of jerseys, so how is this going to happen?
So the logistics of it actually are being organized by Mr. McGuire, but if you look at the memo I submitted February 3rd, and in the facility gymnasium area from 6:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., we will be there, and you can purchase some old jerseys from Tiverton High School for all of the sports that we have to date and in the past.
So all these alums, come on out.
Come on out.
Come get your, if you lost it or it got washed or something, just come on out.
Absolutely.
My question on this is, what if you have multiple interest in one?
Well, that would be an auction versus a yard sale. So I would actually be curious to see what Mr. McGuire's response to that would be. But I would love to just raise the price and be there to auction every one of them off. I think that would be amazing. It would definitely be on Tiverton inhabitants.
Very good. Mr. Dakotas?
2 questions. Any idea of how many of these jerseys? We talking hundreds?
We're talking hundreds.
Hundreds.
Wow. Yeah.
And from Mr. McGuire's perspective, first of all, shout out. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because I know if I had one from when I would bought it. Have any estimation on how much a jersey would go for?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
I think Mr. McGuire and Mr. Grant are working out those price
So
points.
maybe it's a secret and you got to come and see how much it is. That'll draw the interest.
Might be let's make a deal.
There you go.
And I would imagine the sizes are all over the place.
They're all over the
Yeah,
place,
'cause
obviously.
you're talking high school
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just football, right?
No, it's not just
all kinds
football,
of
it's
uniforms.
baseball, boys and girls soccer, it's everything.
Well, we'll do our best to help advertise for you.
Thank you so
I
much,
know.
I appreciate that.
A lot of my old classmates will probably come out of the woodwork and say, gee, I wonder if I still fit in that.
And that's obviously the next step, right? Now we can go all over social media and put it in newsletters.
Perhaps we
so.
need a school committee jersey night.
Yeah, that would be good.
I like that too.
And I might as well say thanks to Mr. Murray for saving all those jerseys, right? Well, I mean, seriously, right?
No, I agree.
Bob, if you're
Anything
watching,
away.
thank you. Make us some money.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, anything else, guys? All right, all those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have 7F, accept ACT grants. 4 grants. Dr. Sanchioni.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me. The ACT Foundation contacted us at the end of the year and said they had a lot of extra money in their account, and a couple schools that had written grants but then didn't follow through. And so they said, would Tiverton be interested in submitting some grants? And we took advantage of that. So we submitted 4 grants. All of them were approved. One was for a treadmill for the new fitness center. One is for a brand new soccer goal. Both our soccer goals were in deplorable condition. And third and fourth grants are combined, 2 separate grants, but for one product, and that's for a golf cart to help with injuries out in the field, help with our trainer, help with handicapped students, and move equipment around. So I seek your approval tonight to accept those 4 grants with gratitude from the ACT Foundation.
And I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
And what's the ACT Foundation?
They're a group out of Warwick that supports sports throughout the state of Rhode Island. They've been here before, as
Yep,
you know.
I just wanted to give them a little shout out.
Yeah, they're
before we-
great. They're
Okay.
great. Steve Marola runs it, and he does great things for students.
He's also helped out Tiverton Little League. He's helped out Tiverton Junior Basketball. So Steve Marola is an awesome person, and he really does help youth sports.
So all those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. 7G, approve Rhode Island Student Survey, grades 6 to 12. Dr. Sanchioni.
So in your packet, I gave you a copy of a survey that's being asked to be administered to our students by the Rhode Department of Healthcare. Tiverton was selected this year to execute this survey, but for the survey to be administered to our students, we need school committee approval.
Would anyone make a motion to approve the administration of is it the Department of Behavioral Health?
Yeah, healthcare. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. I entertain a motion to get approval to administer the survey from the Department of Behavioral Health for grades 6 to 12.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
Dr. Sanchioni, do we know how many districts get chosen to do this?
I don't. I know they rotate it amongst all the districts in the state on an annual basis, so I guess it was our turn.
Okay, thank you.
I think we've had this request before.
You have. About 3-4
I
years
guess it's not
ago.
every year then, okay. For some reason, I thought we were in a cadence where it was every year, but no?
No.
Okay. Well, we've never said no before. I know that
No,
much.
it's great data for us to obtain.
Yep. Deb, do you have anything? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Item 7H, FY25 initial budget presentation. Dr. Sanchioni and Ms. Roderick.
All right, I'll call you attention up to the screen, and we'll give you an initial overview of our FY24 budget.
FY25.
It's FY25, thank you. You know, there's some interesting information in here. You already heard Mr. Edwards talk about our loss of state aid. I think it's really important tonight not to sound an alarm system, to just recognize where we are, know that there's a long way to go, that the governor's budget can be changed, so we certainly need to work with the town and other entities to see where this finally ends up. So I don't want anyone to be worried about anything other than let's look at this where it is at this day, time, and place, and certainly a lot of people are going to work on trying to improve this as best we can. Excuse me. So our goals actually maintain the same every year. We want to just maintain our staff. We're not asking in this budget to add one additional position at all. We want to just keep the staff that we have. We're generating great results with the people we have here. They're highly trained and doing a great job for us. You know, put in the factors for special education, transportation, and energy. Once you do that, it's really almost 96% of our budget. So. Per pupil expenditure, I show this graph to you on an annual basis just to give you a sense of, you know, I don't believe Tiverton's overpaying or underpaying for education. It just kind of shows you where we fit in. We you know, right there I have the communities in the East Bay. You just get a sense of, you know, how we do as far as our per pupil expenditure. Our enrollment here, you can see that we're having a dip in enrollment. Number of factors playing into that, although we are predicting a rise in enrollment moving forward in the next couple of years, so we're hopeful that, you know, students mean dollars, and so the more students we have, the better our budget will be. But when we talk about that dip in state aid, one of the factors that contributed to that was our declining enrollment. All right, so this, the problem with, I do this on a Mac, and then I give it to people who put it on one of those inferior devices called a PC. And
That's definitely an opinion.
and it doesn't quite translate so well. I apologize. We probably should have taken a look at this before we brought it up here. So we're showing you a budget of $39 million. I'm going to use round numbers there, and that is a level service budget. When we talk about level services, it's just maintaining everything we're doing this year, next year. So accounting for all of our contractual raises. We know that both our contracts are going into their third year, and they have articulated a 2.5% increase for all of our staff. We put in the raises for special education, transportation, energy calculations, things of that nature. And when we show that to you, we break that budget out, we're showing you that 72.1% of it is staff. And that's a healthy school budget. You always want to have the major portion of your budget all about the people who work there. They're the most important contributor to our successes. And then I always break out the 72% into how that gets divided. And again, you want your teachers to be the largest portion there. You have your paraprofessionals coming in next. You've got administration, custodial, maintenance. So it's divided up pretty equally after our teaching staff. But again, it just shows you that, you know, the money that we use, the money that we have in our budget is used to educate students. So when we look at the numbers, let's always look at where we currently are with our budget. So right now, FY24, operating budget is $35,574,366. The town contribution, you can see there, is $27 million. I'll speak in round terms. We received about 6.9, almost $7 million in state aid. The town and state funds with $34 million. And then the school committee wisely allowed us to use Medicaid and fund balance money to balance the budget. So we had a budget that came in on the town and the state funds, which was below our operating budget or our request for level staff. The school committee used $1.2 million, almost $1.3 million in one-time funds to balance, and to also, we left us with still a deficit that we cut 5.5 positions. So we knew going into FY25 that we've been carrying a structural deficit for year after year after year, and that, again, that was playing out in FY24. So as we move into FY25, we start with where we are this year, the $34.3 million. A request from the town, and okay, I apologize. I'm looking at one thing and seeing something different up there. A 4% increase from the town. As you've heard this evening, we took a pretty significant hit in our state aid of $1.2 million. And that would bring us back to hopefully funding our budget at where it currently resides at $34,300,801. That's going to leave a really significant deficit. And so you heard me talk about a level staff budget, which is just taking everyone we currently have and moving them forward 1 year, looking at what our potential budget would be of the $34 million, and again, you're looking at almost a $5 million deficit. You know, that drastic cut in state aid, that carrying over of the structural deficit year to year, and our loss of enrollment, again, all those factors are coming together this year. I want to show you this chart. I know it's probably hard to see up there. I know you have it in your packet, but here we're just showing in the yellow, the one-time funds that the school committee has used over the past 7 years. And so again, I show this to you just to highlight that having the school committee to use one-time funds for us to balance is not a new thing. You've been doing this for years. And in fact, when you go back to FY19, you're going to see $2.5 million that you used. And so it's been going on for multiple years. In the blue is showing what the state has contributed. The green is showing what the town has contributed year after year after year, and you can see those percentages. There's many years where the increase was zero, a negative number, and then even when the town did increase their percentages up to 3-4%, those were years then when the state decreased their percentages, so, our overall budget increases are 1.5%, 3.9, 1.2% over the last 3 years. And as you can predict, there's really nothing in our budget that goes up 1.5 or 1.2%. It's forcing us into this deficit that we're realizing this year. So we've got a very large deficit. There's a lot of things to think about between now and before the end of the year when we finalize this budget. Making the school committee aware that you will have some funds available to you in Medicaid and fund balance again, potentially up to $1.3 million to help mitigate that. And we'll just summarize the budget a little bit here in the sense of 72% of it are personnel and benefits, so I'm breaking down to $39 million. Energy is 2.8%, special education is 9.4%, transportation's 8% of our budget, technology is 1.9%. If you take those factors, and I would say all of those are places we don't want to go, either we can't cut or we shouldn't cut, that's 94.3% of our budget. The other 5.7%, that's legal, trash pickup, a little bit for a little bit for curriculum and advancement, professional development, things like that. So our budget has been and continues to be really bare bones about just keeping our people in place. To understand the impact of salary, that 72%, I'll share with you that this year, our budget for all of our staff is $18.8 million. What's driving the changes, why it's going up, is step and lane changes, which are contractually negotiated, a 2.5% increase that's contractually negotiated, a small amount of merit increases for administrators. You can see the increase there is $758,000. So that's what's driving that 72% portion of our budget. On the expense side, I'm going to turn that over to Amy. She's done a lot of great work at looking at all of our expenses and what's driving that.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchioni. So our expense budget went up approximately $2.6 million. And if we can go to the next slide, please. The majority of that comes from our special education out-of-district placements. We've had a big increase in that, as well as medical and dental premiums. And some of our other benefits that are salary dependent, those also go up whenever we provide raises and things like retirement, FICA, Medicare, sort of all those things. We've had an increase in some tuitions to other school districts. We were talking about that in the finance subcommittee earlier. And then, so the, repairs and maintenance, as you know, we have great need for repairs and maintenance, and there are things on the horizon that we have put off for at least the entire time I've been here. And then, now it's coming time to make those repairs. Technology, we do have some increases, an increase that relates to new devices, some cabling and things like that to keep things in a 21st century manner. When I say that, some of the devices and some of the equipment we have is more than 5 years old, which is almost obsolete. And then sort of all other is about $236,000. And again, liability insurance has gone up, supplies are going up, custodial supplies, building supplies, school supplies, things like that. So, and again, this is just estimated cost increases, not necessarily consumption or procurement increases. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions.
So before I talk about the district and overall, I want to summarize this for you in the sense of we're showing you a school system, a school district that wants to just maintain what it's currently doing. That we got to have a drastic cut in state aid. You've been carrying a structural deficit for year after year. We have rising costs that all school districts face, and all those things are contributing to a pretty large deficit this year that I know between now and April, May, or June, when we finally finalize this, a lot of people are going to work exceedingly hard. I know the school committee is going to do that to try the best way to overcome this, because this school system is experiencing a lot of great successes here. And we've got schools who are being ranked really high. 3 of our schools are mentioned up there. Our high school this year was on the AP Honor Roll. for both number of students taking AP classes and the successes. This high school also had an amazing accreditation report given to them by NEASC. Our graduation rate has been amazing for the last 2 years. There's a lot of great things happening in our district, and those things need to be maintained in the best interest of our students. So right now, I don't want to sound the alarm. I want to say that this is where we are, but we have a lot of work to do to figure this out before we get to that final budget that we're all going to be looking at. So, pause.
First of all, we won't be taking any votes this evening. We are way too early in the
Right.
process. Our budget to the town is due
March 19th.
19th, thank you. So we have between now and March 18th, if you will,
Yes.
to go through this in detail and take a look at what the reality is going to be.
If I may add, at the next school committee meeting, you have multiple presentations,
Right.
special ed, transportation, energy, all broken out, capital broken out. So to
This-
give you deeper insight into this budget.
This is going to be, I know it will be the most difficult year budgetarily since I've been on. It's going, I mean, and we'll talk about this state aid issue in a moment, but because of that reduction in state aid, we will not be in any kind of position to ask for more from our town because it exceeds the maintenance of effort.
You mean we, the school committee?
The school committee.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. So unless there were major changes in that calculation, right, we
Yep.
are going to be faced with some very difficult decisions. We will, over the coming weeks, as we have our meetings, entertain the presentations by all of our district leaders with regard to their budget requests. I will ask my colleagues to pay very close attention to these presentations and ask lots of questions. And know that I think as a group, and I'm going to speak for the group and tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I think as a group, we will be all like-minded in wanting to do what is best for the students who live here in Tiverton and attend our schools. It's about all we can offer right now. I would like some additional discussion, though, on this drop in state aid. And so, Dr. Sanchioni, perhaps for our next meeting, we can get into that in a little bit more depth.
Absolutely, already on the agenda for February 13th.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will now open the floor.
Thank you. So one thing I would like to ask if we can have Representative Jay Edwards come to the next meeting. I actually spoke with him. He requested to come speak with us. So he's obviously talking to people up at the State House, trying to fight for us and represent us. So hopefully he'll have some good news to report. We can only hope.
Yeah, I've been in contact with Representative Edwards. He's been great.
Yes,
Yeah.
and John as well on the
Yeah,
town
John,
side
yeah.
as well. Both are championing our cause. So everything that you said, Dr. Sanchioni, matters. I think the school district has been going quite some time in a very heightened direction. I hate to see any steps backwards. In fact, money shouldn't ever be the reason why we don't give our children the best education we can. And so it seems like every year we keep talking about money. It's tiring. It is tiring. And inflation, I've heard it all, and the fuel and I mean, it is what it is, but we can't take a cut from a state like this. It can't. So anyway, that's my diatribe. Sorry for going off on the side there.
No? Yep.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you don't want us to be alarmed.
Well, we get a lot of problem staff.
However, I am looking at a $4.6 million deficit with potential funds available of 1.4. That adds up to 3.2 million. So the accountant in me finds that distressing. I think we have been discussing, this is my 15th year on the school committee. We have been discussing for any number of them now, and that chart that you showed going back 7 years, that we were going to have to pay the piper at some point for using those one-time funds. And I think that those chickens have come home to roost. I'll sort of leave it there, but I do find that number alarming. We have to Mrs. Farnworth's point, we have a lot to dig into, but that's a big number.
Yeah, I don't want to minimize. I just want our staff to feel that there's a
No.
lot of people going to do a lot of work
We are.
between now and then. And so I want to remain hopeful that what we're looking at today is going to be better.
Well, and this is a starting point, not an ending
Right.
point. We have discussions with our council. They're, you know, while we can only request a certain number, they certainly have the ability to, they have a different cap than we do. They have different laws than we do, so they certainly have an ability to look at the funding a little bit differently, and those discussions are just beginning. So, right. I certainly understand that.
Okay. Well, thank you for, as we come to the end of our agenda, or well, almost the end of our agenda, for grounding us in the activities that will be probably front of mind over the next 6 to 8 weeks, for sure. Yep. Okay, so on to item I, appointment of member to the Tiverton Semiquincentennial Commission. Hey, I did it right, I think. Before we get into my asking for a motion, I'm going to ask that we not have a motion. I spoke with the Council Vice President, Burke, who was behind the creation of this committee for the town. I went through the resolution that the town council approved, and it clearly states that they are looking for a member of the school department to join that commission, not the school committee.
So it could be anyone.
It could be any employees from the school department. The only caveat to that is they need to be a resident of Tiverton in order to participate. So I would like us just to leave this in the hands of Dr. Sanchioni and his staff to find someone that's willing to participate with this town committee. We as members of the school committee are elected officials, and by charter are not allowed to participate in any appointed committees outside of the school committee. So that was really the reason why I questioned, and he did clarify for me that the original intent was to get a member of the school staff to participate on a voluntary basis. So I will not be looking for a motion. Any questions, anyone?
We have a lot of a good clarification, and I think we have a lot of really terrific Tiverton school department staff members at all levels. So I would think that wouldn't be a hard lift.
We've already brought it to the attention of our high school social studies department, and we know this.
Very good.
There'll be someone available.
Oh, excellent.
Once we get the actual name, I'll share it with you.
Excellent.
And I wish them well. I think this is going to be a real fun committee for them. And, you know, look forward to those celebrations as they take place over the next couple of years. That takes us to the end of our regular agenda. Our future meetings, just as a recap, we have a finance subcommittee meeting on the 13th of February at 6 p.m. And then we will have directly following a school committee meeting on that same day, February 13th at 7 p.m. I would like to make a motion that we move into executive session under Rhode Island General Law 42465A3, review Homeland Security safety reports, safety protocols, and SRO status. Rhode Island General Law 42465A1, job performance, character, physical or mental health, the superintendent's evaluation. And Rhode Island General Law 42465A4, legal advice, RE masking in schools.
Second.
Mrs. Polish.
Yes.
Mr. Dakotas.
Yes.
And I am a yes. We are now in executive session.